Great. Okay, let's welcome all our friends on Kabbalah.com, all our friends on Facebook, Spiritual Sunday around the world. Let's say hello to all these people. Whoa! Okay, great to have you back with us. Great to be back. You know, I told people, remember, everything is relative, isn't it? Consciousness is everything, so it's all relative to me. So when people say, oh, Chaim, welcome back, I said, I didn't go anywhere. I just sort of lifted up the earth, and the earth moved, and you went away. Great, okay. All the new people, you know, that's why they say Kabbalah makes you crazy, which is okay, because if the world out there is normal, I'd rather be crazy, all right? So let's start like this. One of my favorite stories, and actually the soundtrack, is Man of La Mancha. Okay. So if you go back, what was Don Quixote? They say he had an impossible dream. One of the best songs ever in history, right? The Impossible Dream. And what was it? All he could see in every human being was good. He saw good in people. He saw good in the world. Everything around him was perfect. Perfect world, perfect people. And what happened? The people who were caught in the illusion, in their five senses, they of course thought he was crazy, because they saw what they called the reality, right, of all the people and the things and the chaos in the world. And you imagine that's in the what, 1500s? So for 500 years, what's changed? You still have people looking. Here in the Kabbalah Center, what do we say? A perfect world is our goal. A perfect world is guaranteed because the Creator is perfect. And you still have people saying, no, that's impossible. It's never going to happen. How can it be, etc. But that's the whole mission. The Kabbalah Center for almost 100 years, that's all the point of this, is to teach us the ways and means that we can make the perfect world show up. It's not we have to create the perfect world. That's the delusion that people have been under for thousands of years. It's up to us to create the perfect world, or the other way around. We'll sit back and we'll wait for the Creator to create the perfect world and just complain. God, why aren't you helping me? God, why aren't you doing this? God, why aren't you taking care of that, etc. No, we're here in the center to understand we have the power. We've been given all the resources. All we have to do is use them. That's it. Make manifest all your potential that the Creator gave us. So it's not only possible, but it's guaranteed. Has to be. And if you look at it, although it takes a little bit more vision, even the difficulties in the world, even the chaos in the world, where is it pushing humanity? Let's think about it. The good people in the world, which are actually probably 99% of the population, what do we all want? Peace and harmony. And so you and I have come to understand by learning Kabbalah that even the chaos of the world is pushing us towards perfection. Remember Edison? Edison tried 9,999 times to create a light bulb. Did he give up? No, he didn't, because he had the understanding that it was possible. It was possible. So you and I are here to remember, if it's already been infused in our soul, if the Creator put potential inside of us, gave us all the thoughts, consciousness, and resources, it's just up to us to make it happen. And so what is our soul doing all the time? In spite of what we do in the five-sense material world, our soul is seeking and pushing to give us messages. The soul is constantly reminding us of who we are, our capabilities, our talents and abilities. And how does that happen? Every now and then we get a dream. A dream. So I want to speak just a few minutes about dreams, because, you know, in all the years I've been in the center, if you ask people, of course, you and I, we have our dreams and we're not sure what it is. If here in the center we understand a little more about dreams, but you ask out there, and what will they tell you? They don't understand what dreams are. Psychology is studying, you know, sleep patterns and where the dream, and they keep telling us collective unconscious. I don't know, it's some result of the hormones or the brain chemistry or things that are going on in your life, etc. But they have no explanation. So you and I understand because we're learning from the universal blueprint called the Zohar, Kabbalah. What is a dream? Think about, when do dreams happen? You ever stop? Just think that. When do dreams happen? At night when we're asleep. Hello, hint, what does that mean? When we're asleep, what happens to our conscious mind? It stops thinking, right? That illusionary, rational, conscious mind sets aside. Our soul is much more open, and dreams are messages from the soul trying to get to us and tell us about what our potential is, what may be coming in the future. That's why dreams are portents of the future. And sometimes we get those visions of what could happen. We get those dreams about what could be, and sometimes they come in warnings. I had 2 people tell me years back they had dreams of 9/11. 2 people saw exactly what was going to happen. Planes flying into the World Trade Center. But imagine the week before 9/11, who are you going to call? Hello, FBI? Yes, I had a dream. 2 planes hit the World Trade Center. What do you think they'd tell you? Yeah, you're crazy. I mean, just another kook on the phone. But 2 people that I know have had those dreams. 2 people. Then you have the dreams, because most of our dreams are not prophetic. We're not yet on the level of prophets where they could literally see what was going to happen, even like this 9/11. Most of us, we get odd things, weird things, and that's maybe why people dismiss them. Well, it was really crazy. I saw purple elephants, and I don't know, I flew through the air, and I did all these crazy things that we don't believe are reality. So the Kabbalists tell us we have to understand what those symbols mean. The dreams come encoded. I had a woman just recently told me that, years ago, before she started to become spiritual, she was involved in different relationships, and she was freely admit that she was more of a taker, what she wanted to get from the person in the relationship. Now she's coming to Kabbalah. She's understanding that that's not good for her nor for the other person. So she's been transforming that. And she's willing to go even without a relationship rather than get back to her old way of being. So she just told me, and again, coincidence, synchronicity, she's telling me about a dream she had. Because what happened, she lives in her family's in South America. She's lived here a number of years. And so she hasn't been home for a while. Then an ex-boyfriend called her up, offered her a ticket to fly home. So the old part of her starts to think, well, why not? It's an opportunity to go home, visit family, other things like that, right? And even then, before she had the dream, she started to think, yeah, but what about the part of taking advantage of this man? Because he's not just that generous just to give her a ticket, go home and find her family. I won't say what the rest of it is, but you get the idea, right? So she understood there was like a business deal in this thing. Not that kind of business. You wouldn't believe what these people are thinking here. So she's scanning her Zohar. She's really asking for help and clarity and strength. She gets a dream. She's on a hot air balloon. She sees a hot air balloon, and it starts going up, and it can't go up because of all the sandbags. So one by one, the sandbags, like invisibly being cut and let go, and the balloon is rising. Now you tell me, do you have an idea what that means? No. It's not a direct message, but it is a direct message. And this is why the Zohar teaches us. You have to interpret the dream. And so you only tell a dream to people who care about you, who love you, and want the best for you. And I'll explain that in a minute. So as she was relating the dream, she had a hint already, but we discussed it. What was it telling her? Because she was already feeling bad about taking advantage of this man's offer. So she realized what was the dream. The hot air balloon was her rising in consciousness, her raising to her 100%, and she's realizing all of her negativity in her past was holding her down. And so slowly, the universe, her soul, is giving her that warning or that encouragement. If you start letting go of your past negativity, let go of the taking advantage in her case, or perhaps you and I, the anger, the guilt, the shame, the resentment, the hurt, the greed, the ego. As you start letting go and transforming that, then the balloon will rise higher and higher. And so that's what she did. She called him up the day before she was supposed to leave and said, no, I can't do this. Thank you, but no thank you. And how did she feel? She felt amazing. She felt amazing because in that moment, like the balloon, she had let go of all that heaviness that was weighing her down, and she felt her soul was rising. And she came to understand that if she's raising in consciousness, like attracts like. So as she raises higher, she's going to find better things, not only relationship-wise, but in every area of her life. So dreams are important for us to remember, and the Zohar says that a dream that's uninterpreted is like a letter unopened. So imagine you're getting a letter from your soul or from the Creator, and you don't open it up. So I'll tell you a story. 2,000 years ago, the time of the Temple of Jerusalem, there were 24 dream interpreters in the city of Jerusalem. If a person took the same dream to all 24 different interpretations, but the more important part, it came out exactly as all 24 said. That's why the Zohar says, be careful who you tell a dream to, that they care for you, they know how to interpret it, and they want the best for you. Because the way the dream is interpreted is the way it can come out. Because remember, what do we say? Consciousness is everything. So you've never had somebody put a doubt in your mind? Never heard that phrase, right? You heard that phrase? Yeah. Right? They put a doubt in my mind. What does that mean? I was sure about something. I was heading in one direction, but then I told somebody and they said, oh, I'm not sure it could happen. And they put a doubt. And that doubt then was like that sandbag, put us down, draw us back down. And so what we understand by these 24 dream interpreters is that when we get a message from our soul, everything is possible. Everything is possible. So yes, it's important to remember our dreams. It's important to go to your teacher and ask them to help you understand what it means. What does it mean for you? Because it is a hint of what you can achieve. It is a hint of your possibilities. That's what it's telling us. 24 different interpretations, and it shows up that way. Because how many possibilities does the universe have for us? How many possibilities as we will use the power of the Creator in us to manifest things in our life? What's not possible? I mean, think about it. We're in 2018. Some of us are old enough to remember Dick Tracy. Some of you, you'll have to go Google him. But you remember what he wore on his wrist? Not just a watch. Come on, we've had watches for years. It was a video watch. You could talk and see people on your watch. Well, back then it was just a cartoon, so of course it was not real. Oh, but 2018, guess what? You can go down to the store and buy one. So what was cartoon, what was fiction, what was imaginary has now become reality. So when we have those dreams, what the 24 interpreters, that story is teaching us is everything is possible. Whichever way we will look at those messages, whichever way we will look at life, will determine how it shows up. So yes, it is good to remember those dreams, but most importantly, I want to get to the second aspect of dreams. When somebody tells you, I have a dream, do you really think they mean like when they were asleep? No, they'll tell you, I had a dream last night. That means the dream when they're asleep. But when somebody says, I have a dream, what do they mean? Something in me, I have a desire to do something. I have a vision of doing something, right? What I love to be, what I love to see, what I'd love to have happen. So I have dreams and aspirations. Where do they come from? Let's ask. The same way the dreams when we're asleep. Why? The conscious mind sets aside. Our soul has an easier time to get to us, to inspire us. So in those moments when we say, yes, I have a dream. Some people say, I want to be a musician. I want to be, I don't know, president of a company. I want to be whatever it is. Where do you think those dreams, that vision, that aspiration comes from? It still comes from our soul. And since we are not the creator, we could call ourselves co-creators. We use the power of the Creator, but we're not the creator. So when we have those thoughts, those dreams and aspirations, where does it come from? It comes from our soul. It comes from the possibilities. Maybe yes, some of it comes from what we did or experienced in a past life. And if you're new to this, I'm not telling you have to believe in past lives or reincarnation, but we do teach it, and it sure explains a lot of things. Makes sense of a lot of things that happen for us, the way we grew up, and for the world around us. So sometimes we have those aspirations because of things we did in a past life. But we also have things that our soul is telling us we need to do in this lifetime. The trouble is, you tell it to the wrong person, and sometimes it's even people who love you, but they're also caught up in the physical material reality. So they'll tell you, it can't happen. Can't happen. Why do you want to do that? Stay where you are. It's safe and comfortable. Why get out of that comfort zone and try something different? Well, imagine where we would be if that happened to everybody. Yeah, I think I've told you the story before, but maybe in 1898 or 96, I forget, the head of the United States Patent Office went to Congress and said, you might as well shut down the patent office because everything that could be invented had been invented. Great visionary, huh? Imagine where we would be if that happened. You follow? But what's every great inventor? Somebody who sees something beyond the material world. And where does that come from? Because like the 24 interpreters, it already exists out there. In the Creator's universe, everything is possible. We're the only ones who make it impossible, and if we believe it's impossible, it will. And that's the key. So dream big. Let your dreams be bigger than even it comes to you at first. Just don't let anyone stop it. Don't let anyone stop it. Work for it. Move towards it. Let those dreams inspire you. I'm not saying tomorrow quit your job, but don't doubt your dreams. Don't let them hold you back. Start working towards them. You think about it, go back in history. There's so many people with different types of dreams. Joseph. If you go back in the Bible, Joseph had a dream, amazing dream. He saw himself, he was one of the youngest brothers of the 12 sons of Jacob. He had a dream he was going to be above all of them, including his mother and father. He was going to rule over them, not in a manipulative way, but he was going to rise higher than them. What did his brothers say? Look at this kid, right? He's 18 years old. He's got these dreams of grandeur. Let's put him in his place. And so they did. But Joseph held his dream. Joseph held his dream. Even you read in the Bible, he's going to visit his brothers. They're out tending the sheep, and his father said, go find them. And he's out looking for them. And what do they say? Oh, look at this guy. Here comes the dreamer of dreams. Here comes the guy who's under all this hallucination. Right? Who does he think he is? Well, look at the end of the story. Who did he become? He became ruler over all of them. Because we understand Kabbalistically, his soul's potential was the gateway between the upper and lower world. He created an opening for you and I thousands of years later to have easier access to achieve our potential. Like those books out there, the 7 steps to achieve whatever it is. So Joseph showed us the same way. He had a big dream. Hold on to the dream. Don't let anything that happens to you doubt that dream, and just keep working towards it. And in the end of the story, it came true. So we have to do the same thing. Hold on to your dream and keep working towards it. Don't let anyone or anything stop you. The issue is, don't expect it to happen tomorrow. That's where we'll give up. Well, I had this big dream. It came so clear to my mind. I went out there and I tried, and it didn't work, so you give up on it. Remember Edison? Almost 10,000 experiments till he found the right way. How many times have we heard things like that? People made an effort, who was it? In one day, it's an old story, of course, I grew up in LA, so you hear these kinds of stories. One day, one of the movie studios turned down Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds. Said they'd never make it. You don't know who they are? Okay. Right? Again, did they give up? Rocky, you know the story of Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. He tried and tried and tried and tried, and he was willing to hold on to his dream. I have to be the star of the movie. They were willing to pay him a lot of money to not be the star, but just buy his story. And he turned it down. Why? Because he held to his dream. He had those aspirations. He had that vision. He already saw it. And as we've said, if he could already see it in his mind, he knew it was possible. And so he just kept working towards it. And those are the examples we have to hold on to, right? People who see beyond the five senses. That's what the dream is. It's coming from our soul. So by definition, it's beyond our five senses. So let your dreams be big and don't ever give up on them. Think where you and I would be, right? Noah and the ark. Remember Noah's ark? 300 years. He had the vision, as the Bible says God told him, but for you and I, it's that vision. He understood what was coming. 300 years he warned people. Did they listen? No. Because why? It wasn't like today, right? Today, if it started raining, we might say, well, maybe, right? For a while, it was raining pretty hard. So in Noah's time, if we started to see that kind of rain and we saw the ark he was building, we might say, okay, maybe there's a chance. But if it was nice and dry and clear all the time for 300 years, then you probably think he's a little crazy. But he held on to it. Nikola Tesla, you go right down the line of every great inventor. They saw things, they had visions, and they kept working towards it. And we could see things happen. Solutions to problems, amazing creations, inventions coming about. Right? And how do you know? Work towards it. If you work towards your dream, again, I'm not telling you just quit tomorrow your job and go for it, but find ways to go for it. And remember who's backing you up, and you and I here are learning the tools. So scan your 72 names, scan your Zohar, keep moving forward. Then you're going to have the dream or the confirmation. How do we understand it in the Bible, Kabbalistically? You remember Jacob's dream of the ladder? So it's a nice dream. He had a dream of a ladder and the angels going up and down and up and down. Kabbalistically, you know what he's telling us? It was confirmation. Because what happened? Jacob had a sense of who he was supposed to be. But look at all the trouble he had. His brother wanted to kill him, right? He had to run away from his mother and father. He had to go out of his comfort zone to run away from his family, his homeland, all these things. But he kept with the light and he kept praying and meditating, connecting to the light until he had that dream of the angels coming up and down. What was that? It was confirmation he was in the right place. That's why it says when he woke up, he says, wow, I didn't realize this was a holy place. Because he wasn't sure. He was constantly asking. They didn't take for granted that they were so holy that, of course, it had to show up. They were constantly working. Those are the lessons we have to hold on to. Yes, somebody rejects it, other people naysay it. That's okay. If it's really coming from your heart and soul, keep working towards it. Think where you and I would be. Where are we? Those of you on Kabbalah.com, I mean, that's already 30 years ago. There was no such thing. There wasn't an internet. Now you got internet, we have people all over the world watching us. But how did that start? Almost 100 years ago. Yehuda Ashlag, greatest Kabbalist probably in the last 300 years. He had a dream and he had a vision of bringing peace and harmony to the world. He was one man. But he didn't let the fact that he was one person against a whole world of people telling him that he shouldn't do it and that it was impossible. But he made his effort. He was teaching. He would teach the few people who were around. He had one main student, Judith Zvi Brandwein. The one man who carried that legacy, carried that dream, that there would be peace and harmony to the world and that the world would be able to learn Kabbalah. There was still only one person in the world doing it. The fact they didn't see hundreds or thousands or millions of people doing it, did it stop them? No. They kept going. They fought against the establishment. They fought the uphill battle until it came to the third in the link, which is Rav Berg and Karen Berg. And when they started, well, at least they were two people. They were no longer just one. But they had that same vision. Because remember, like attracts like. So when Rav Ashlag had that vision to see Kabbalah spread throughout the world to people everywhere, nothing stopped him. In fact, even physically being beaten up didn't stop him. Rav Brandwein, his student, you know how much they tried to fight him? And you're talking back in Israel in the 50s and 60s. So the only way to get around was the bus. But there were people who wanted to stop them from teaching Kabbalah to anybody else, that Rav Brandwein's brother-in-law, who was in charge of the bus system of Israel, gave a picture to every driver and said, this man you do not let on the bus. Did it stop Rav Brandwein? 2 hours he would walk to get to his teacher, and 2 hours he would walk back. Nothing was going to stop him. The Rav and Karen, when they were 2 people, same thing. They moved to the Middle East, and the Rav decided, with the little swift kick from Karen, if this really is universal, it has to go out to everybody. So the story goes that when the Rav went to teach at Tel Aviv University, the first time that Kabbalah was really taught outside of the quote-unquote religious community, the Rav looked at Karen and said, if we do this, they'll probably kill us. And Karen said, but at least we'll be making the world a better place. And so you and I are sitting here because of that vision, because of those aspirations. And that's the example that we want to keep. Yes, work towards it. Move out that way. I told them, most of you know that the last 2 weeks I was in the Far East. So I know we have a lot of people who are watching now, a few more. I went and taught in Manila, and I went and taught in Hong Kong. And people were driving an hour, hour and a half. One woman that I know of flew from Indonesia to Manila to take classes. When I was teaching in Hong Kong, there was a woman flew from mainland China to Hong Kong to take classes. Talk about inspirational. For me, inspirational. But the bigger picture was, and I shared it with them, because for me it was like a dream to be in the Far East. 32 years ago, when I started in the center, if you had asked me, Chaim, do you ever envision yourself teaching in the Far East like that? Kabbalah students. When I started, I was the 14th teacher in the world, other than the Rav and Karen, the first American. We had 2 tiny offices and the LA center wasn't even as big as this room. We had about 200 students in the world. If you had asked me then, could I envision myself in the Far East teaching locals? It wasn't just like transplanted Americans or whatever you want to say. No, it was locals. Back then, I would have said, probably not. My brain would have said yes, because all we heard from the Rav and Karen is, from Rav Ashlag to Rav Brandwein to the Rav and Karen, this has to go out to the world. This has to reach every person, because it's technology of the soul. And so here I was, literally in a dream. For 9 days, I couldn't believe that I was there. It was that amazing. But this is the result of working towards things, never giving up on your dream. Don't let other people do it to you. Why? Why not? Why not go for it? Think about it. Why wouldn't we? Why can't our dreams and aspirations come true? The only thing is we don't believe. But we've got to be open. We've got to work towards it. We've got to do, like when Joseph told his dream to his father and his brothers, and they all started to make fun of him. It says something very interesting. It says in the Bible, if you read it very carefully, his father, Jacob, the patriarch, guarded the dream. Guarded the dream. What's the message for us? Yes, if along the way you try and it doesn't work, and you try again and it doesn't seem to work, and you get all the naysayers, you have to guard the dream. You have to remember, if it's truly an aspiration. Now, here's the catch. A lot of people have dreams. You hear about it all the time. Yes, I want to be a rock star. Yes, I want to be a politician. Yes, yes. The question is why? Bless you. Do you want to make the world a better place, or you just want to satisfy the ego? Is it a selfish dream? If it's a selfish dream, yes, then let it go. Because we know that dream is not going to work long run. But if it's a dream, like Rav Ashlag, Rav Brandwein, the Rav and Karen, to make the world a better place, if it's a dream of something you can achieve that will help inspire others to also fulfill their potential, if it's something that will make the world and people around you better off, it'll inspire them to remember that they are also pure and perfect beings of light, that they have the power of the Creator inside them. Yes, then just keep going. Go, 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 and guard that dream no matter what people will tell you. Find ways and means to start making it happen, but also be open along the way, not to say it has to be this way. Because sometimes we have dreams. In fact, some of your dreams probably already came true. You just haven't noticed. When I was growing up, first dream I had, like most kids, firemen, policemen, all these nice things, right? Now, since I came to Kabbalah, I figured it must have come from my past life because it wasn't what I was going to do. But I started to notice about 11, 12 years old, what happened? I started to have this dream, this vision of making the world a better place, removing pain and suffering from the world. Well, what are you going to do at 11, 12 years old? Think about how you're going to make the world a better place. So at that point, I decided, well, you know what could do it? I'll be a doctor. Because isn't that what doctors are supposed to do? Take away your pain and suffering. Yes or yes? Okay, so that's what I started to do. I started to work towards that, and I kept working and working towards it. Worked hard in school to get good grades. High school, I worked hard to get good grades. I went to college, I didn't quite work too hard. I worked hard, but it was college. I mean, come on. My world expanded. I mean, I grew up in a little insular part, Redondo Beach, California, in case somebody's watching. I know, I actually had a few people write me and say, yes, I live in Redondo, or I grew up in Redondo, or I've lived in Redondo. So at least a few people know where that is. But it was a little insular town. I moved to UCLA to live in the dorms. Suddenly I saw a whole new world. I saw people that didn't look like me. I saw other cultures, I saw other backgrounds, I saw other colors. And you know what I have to tell you? And this is like 1973, 74. People are people. Even though they were black, white, brown, yellow, and red, everybody was just kind and nice. That was my experience of college. We didn't have animosity. Even here and there, in good fun, people would make fun of themselves. And I don't want to say it on camera, but it was that kind of thing. It didn't matter who you were or what you were. People would make fun because it was in jest, and everybody understood that way. But it taught me a lesson back then before I got into the center, before I became spiritually minded. People are people. And in all my travels in these 30 years, it's the same thing. Our soul is the same. Like we're saying today, it feels I want to make the world a better place, and I want to be my potential. I want improved life. I want a better life. I have those visions and aspirations, and we can make it happen. We can make it happen. So here I am, I'm working, I'm in college, doing pretty well. I'm applying to medical school. And then my whole world changed and shifted more towards the spiritual realm. Got involved in spirituality. I studied for a number of years. I was teaching, but ultimately led me to the Kabbalah Center. Now, for most people, you look and you say, well, that's a big change. You wanted to be a doctor, and now you're teaching Kabbalah. That's what I'm telling you. Start looking for how some of those dreams and aspirations have already come true. Because by spreading Kabbalah around the world and hearing the miracles of people's transformation, I realized the purpose for what I wanted to be a doctor is being achieved. Taking away people's pain and suffering, making the world a better place. So sometimes we have to look back and we have to be able to see how the dreams and aspirations we've had are coming true, how we're influencing other people to be better, and how our life is getting better. Because it is. It's just we don't always see it that way. So we're here today to inspire, to be inspired, to remember, if your soul is pushing you in a certain direction, then let it be okay to go in that direction. Guard the dream, work with the tools, make sure that it's pushing the world, you and the world around you, to be a better place, for you to be a better person. That's all it's about, isn't it? Don't we want better lives? So as you grow, like attracts like again. You'll find more. How did we all get here? You know, I heard years ago when I came to the center, the Rav and Karen told us, we have no free will to come here to the center. It's part of our destiny from the day we're born. The free will happens once we're here. What do we do with what we're learning? How we continue to live into our pure and perfect beingness? How we follow those dreams and aspirations? How we learn to listen to the soul? And how we add power to make our dreams come true. So yes, we have all the tools. A little later, we'll meditate on the 72 names. Many of you already have the books of the Zohar in whatever form it is. So we can make use of those tools to awaken the light in us, to support us. But you want to know one other way to make sure your dream comes true? Help other people make their dreams come true. Because if you're helping somebody else, then the universe will help you through other people, through other means, through those coincidental meetings. Those things happen all the time. Synchronicity. Synchronicity. I had an amazing experience Friday. I came from the Far East. I arrived Tuesday night, and I was realizing I didn't have as much appreciation for the center as I saw these people. They rarely get a teacher from one of the centers to come. So when a teacher shows up, they're like enthusiastic. They come out of the woodwork, students who hadn't been around for a while. And the better thing, the most valuable thing for me was, according to the students, there were healings of the conflicts that had been taking place. That was the most valuable for me. But it made me wake up and realize I have to continue to increase my value of what I have here in the center, how my life has changed. And so these people inspired me to have that, to wake up. So Friday, this woman asked me, Chaim, define appreciation. So I told her, like I've always thought about it, think of real estate. What does appreciation mean? Value goes up, right? There's a certain value today. Your property appreciates, mean the same thing now is worth more. But what makes it worth more? Let's say it's just a piece of land. So nothing's on it other than dirt. How come one day it's worth $5,000 and a few months later, or years later, suddenly it's worth $500,000? What changed? And what changed that? Consciousness. People decided it's more valuable. It's in consciousness. Is there nothing in this world that you have a friend says, oh, this would be so valuable, and you look and you say, really? That? Right? For them it's like this, and for you it's like this. Is there nothing like that, or the opposite? You value something and other people don't. How many of you ever tried to tell people about Kabbalah? And then they look at you and you go, cuckoo, right? So you and I value it. They don't. It's the same thing because it's consciousness. So we can up the value of what we've got and what we get here in our consciousness. Keep raising the bar, because if we raise the bar like that hot air balloon, the higher we go, because we're letting go of all the ballast. We're letting go of all the sandbags that are holding us down. And we keep rising and rising. Then she asked me the big question. How do I increase that value in my mind? So my first thought was, why did she have to ask me that? Because I don't know. So in one of those moments that seems like an eternity, and it was probably 10 seconds, I begged, please give me an answer. Opened up my heart and soul. And like this, I had the answer. Why? Because this particular person that I was speaking with, she's had some of the most amazing, miraculous transformations for her and her family. And that's what inspired me. I looked at her and I said, how do you increase the value for what you've got here, what you've learned, and what you can yet do? Go back and remind yourself of the miracles. And I mentioned one or two to her, and I said, this one thing that happened to you and your family, how much is that worth to you? She said, everything. It's worth everything. So that's what I explained to her, and I'm sharing with you, and I'm sharing with you. When we look back at any transformation we've had, and we feel it made a huge impact on our life. So when it happened, did we have value on it? Of course. Did we appreciate it? Yes. It was miraculous. It changed our lives. It saved us some trouble, some chaos, some difficulty. But if it was 2 years ago, what are we caught up usually today? We're caught up in the chaos, the difficulty, and the challenges. So when we go back and remember those miracles, again, in our mind, we can make the value more. We can remind ourselves, like she did, how much was that worth? Everything. So if today she had been giving herself the value of half of everything, then just raise it to at least 3/4. Raise the value. That's how you grow in appreciation, because remember, appreciation is also across the board. If you can appreciate the miracles that happen, you raise the value. Because what are you really raising the value of? The light force of the Creator that we channeled to make those things happen. So if we lift up the value of the light in our consciousness, then the light will show us in every area of our life other miracles and other transformation. Because remember, it's our consciousness is everything. It's how we perceive the world. So then today is the day that we want to open up our dreams, and we want to guard those dreams, and we want to empower those dreams, and along the way empower everybody else's dreams. Because whether you want to be like Don Quixote, whether you want to be like Joseph, whether you want to be like these great inventors, whether you want to be like Rav Ashlag, Rav Brandwein, and the Rav and Karen, and we all want to see a better world, then the way we can make it happen is working together. So today, as we will work together, as we will do our work to make our dreams come true and open our heart and soul to help everybody else on earth and everybody who's watching around the world and everybody in all the centers who are literally making the world a better place, the stronger we are in unity, the more we will work together, then we will be able to transform the planet from the chaos that we see today into the world of heaven on earth, peace, harmony, and love for every human being. Let it be your possible dream today. God bless. Okay. So now is our time for those of you who are new. This is the time we bless our offering. It is a free will offering. We are a charitable organization, but most importantly, as I shared with you a little bit, we are around the world. 30 years ago, we were 3 tiny offices in the world, and now we're all around the world. And I just want to show you, can we get the PowerPoint? Just a few pictures from my trip. So you'll see some of the things. So this is the Kabbalah 3. I teach on Mondays over the internet. I teach Manila and Hong Kong. So this was one of the classes that I was able to teach live, the Kabbalah 3 students in Manila. What? Oh, can you turn the lights down so they can see, please? I did a Rosh Hashanah because the new cosmic year is coming up in a week from tomorrow. So I explained, because we had like 40 people from Manila are going to go to New York. A number of them from Hong Kong are also going to the international event. So we gave a seminar on it. Keep going. This was a class in reincarnation. Some of these people, like I said, drove an hour and a half to get there, and they do it every week. I said, please, come back with me and share with some of the students in Florida, because sometimes you hear, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's a little difficult. They're driving an hour and a half. Okay, yes. This is Hong Kong. This was the Kabbalah 3 group in Hong Kong. They were so sweet. Everyone was so nice. I'm telling you, it was a dream. This is an explanation. What is the Zohar? Gave a class, we talked about miracles, some of them shared their miracles. This was Shabbat lunch, right? We did Shabbat in Hong Kong. This was a dinner, it was an amazing dinner. I don't know if you ever heard of it, hot pot? Yeah. Oh, you know, I thought they were trying to say potluck. I didn't really get it till I saw it. Big pot, boiling water, vegetables in it, and then everybody puts their stuff in a ladle, cook it, and then they put it. It was so good. I couldn't stop eating, right? This was reincarnation in Hong Kong. Okay? But just to understand that dreams do come true. The Rav and Karen had this dream of being all over the world. Today we are. I think I shared with you a couple weeks ago. We had our first Zohar class in Beirut, Lebanon. I mean, imagine, that's the power of what Kabbalah is doing through the center around the world, because the Rav and Karen from their teacher and their teachers had this vision. And this is what you're supporting. So yes, it's nice to say, sure, I appreciate Spiritual Sunday, let me give accordingly, but also look at the bigger picture. It's not just supporting Spiritual Sunday in the Boca Center or even Florida. It's supporting this wisdom and this technology to go all around the world. And like everything else, what we put out there comes back. What goes around comes around. And that's why we always take these few minutes to bless our offering. So whatever it is you have, and those online, do the meditation, the blessing with us, and then you're welcome to go on the Spiritual Sunday Facebook page and make the donation there. So let's just hold it again. Consciousness is everything. So we're putting our love, our light, and our blessing, because money is just a vessel. It's a container for our consciousness. So as we're opening ourselves up to a prosperous consciousness, knowing that the Creator has given us abundance more than we can imagine. As we hold that, then it's easier to be sharing through the center out to 7.5 billion people on the planet, to inspire them, to awaken their soul, to acknowledge, to feel, and to live the power of the light force of the Creator in them. And so we give thanks and gratitude for having what we have, the talents, abilities, our capabilities, and our resources. And we know that by sharing it, to touch the world, to bring peace and harmony to the world, we know that it brings us back many, many, many times over. And so injecting love and light into this gift, we answer together, Amen. We have in front of us one of the 72 names of God, and again, those things, we are now talking about them as light force particles. The light of the Creator, easier to keep the consciousness, that they actually radiate energy, that they're not just symbols on this case on the screen, but they actually radiate the light of the Creator from the upper worlds. Since you and I know our soul is already filled with the light of the Creator, then all we have to do is connect the two. And how do we connect the light of our soul with those light force particles? Through the eyes. Through the eyes. Scanning them, looking at them, letting them be infused in our soul, in our mind's eye, will allow us to have this spiritual awakening. Dreams come true. Right? We want to turn our dreams into physical reality. Right? So they're called, from right to left, Lamed Lamed Hey. Those unfamiliar, all 72 names of God are there on your left. Each one is a different function button to activate a different part of our soul. And that's why it works for everybody. Because it's like our spiritual DNA. Same with everybody, just different combinations. So just take a good look at it. Let the shapes and their energy enter into through your eyes to your soul. Lamed Lamed Hey. So you can get the shapes in your mind's eye. And then, if I can ask you, sit comfortably in the chair, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Begin taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Just allow the circulation of the physical air and the light force that it carries to flow into you, cleansing you of tension, stress, blockages, and as you exhale, letting them go. Feeling yourself relaxing into the infinite light of the Creator that's all around us, that exists everywhere we go. Let's open our heart, our mind, and our soul to keep that in our consciousness. The light is everywhere. So wherever we may have a challenge, the light is there with a solution. And now allowing these light force particles, Lamed Lamed Hey, to shine their unique light directly into your soul, strengthening the clarity of the potential of your soul that come to you as dreams and aspirations. Let the power be awakened to move you in the direction of making those dreams come true. Helping others along the way to make their dreams come true. Lamed Lamed Hey. Helping each of us to have strength and clarity to use everything the Creator's given us to make the world a better place, to bring the infinite light of the Creator into full manifestation. to allow each and every one of us, individually and collectively, to manifest our 100% potential light beingness and join in peace and harmony with all the 7.5 billion other pieces. Take note how good that feels. Your dreams and the dreams of others. Lamed Lamed Hey. Listening to that voice of the Creator within, helping us to guard our dreams and to make them manifest. Allow that to sink into your mind, be engraved in your heart and your consciousness. Let's take one more deep breath to anchor it into our heart and soul. And slowly exhale and open your eyes.